In this lesson, we'll take a look at how mechs can be customized so that we can work faster, and we'll also be introduced to the Flexi Line, a modular component that we can tie to our skeleton for better deformations. The scene is 0 to begin. Now before we get to what we see in front of us, first I'd like to show you how mechs can be customized, again so that we can work quickly. If we were to Alt right click, take a look, we can access our Animate Quad menu this way. And you can see in my menu I have several tools here that I can access much faster. It's much faster than having to dig through the top menu in Max to try to find those items. They're all right here. So if you would like to customize your animation quad menu, it's actually really simple to do. Simply head over to Customize and choose Customize User Interface at the top. So from there we'd head over to the Quads tab, and now we can go ahead and find the quad menu we'd like to work with. So here is the animation quad menu here, and take a look at all of its items. Now if you'd like to add an item, let's say if we wanted to add our path constraint, well, it'd just be a matter of selecting inside of our list, making sure our category is set to all commands, which it should be by default. So from there we can press the P key, and we can go ahead and scroll down until we find our constraint. It's getting closer. There it is. And we'd simply go ahead and add that to our list. Now you can see I've already added the path constraint, so if you want to remove an item, it's just a matter of right-clicking and choosing Delete Menu Item. We could also use these separators to kind of organize this list. So you can see I've separated the bone tools in IK solver that we'll work with, the history independent solver, from the constraints. I've also added the attribute holder modifier so that when we're ready to add custom parameters, we do so with the animator in mind, thinking about how they can work with those in a very convenient way. I've also added a few grouping tools. So again, it's just a matter of finding those items in this list and dragging and dropping. So if you want to add a separator, here it is. Simply go ahead and add that wherever needed. If you don't want it, just right click and choose Delete Menu Item. All right, beautiful. So let's go ahead and talk about this little item we see in our scene. So I like to call this the Flexi Line because the main deformations here caused by this rig are from a spline. So if we were to grab any one of these controls at either end of this mesh, go to the Move tool and start to drag this around, you can see exactly what type of results we'll get. Some really nice squashing and stretching. Beautiful. If we were to go to our global control here, we can use this to align this wherever we'd like to our skeleton so that the system will always work. We also have a control right in the center here. I'll go ahead and Alt right click and choose Transform to 0 to bring this back. But you can see we have this little bend control right in the center. I'm going to head over to the Layer Manager and I'll freeze the mesh. I'll go ahead and grab the bend control. So here you can see that we can get some really nice bending from the center here. So where can we use this? Well, we can use this for our spine, and we can use this bend control to bend from the center. So we most certainly will use this for our character spine. We could also use this for our limbs, for the arms and legs. You can tie this to, let's say, the thigh, and then you can add some curvature at the center of the thigh using this bend control. So this is going to be really exciting when we create stretchy limbs. Again, these will stretch along the limb that scales. It's actually going to translate, not scale, and we'll learn why. But this is going to be pulled as the leg or arm is pulled. That way, again, we can hold some very nice volume. Now, another really exciting thing about this rig is its twist solution. Again, if we were to go back to any one of these controls, you can see here when we start to rotate, we hold volume very nicely. And we can still go to our bend control that will still work properly. So this is going to be really exciting stuff. I'll go ahead and select the Connect Curve, right click and choose Transform to 0. Now yet another thing that you might find interesting here is that we have access to animate these bone objects here. So if you want even more curvature, you most certainly can come in, you can rotate this however you'd like, you can also go in and scale this however you'd like. That's how much control this has. So I think we'll have a lot of fun building this and then adding this to our control rig so that you can add it to your characters for stylized deformations. This is not limited to cartoony characters. You can use this for any rig that you'd like. Of course, for a realistic character, you may not want so much curvature. You may not have need for this bend control necessarily, but you might use this control to fix a pose that needs a stronger silhouette. So these are just some ideas. I'd also like to point out that this bend control might be a little bit difficult to select. Let's say if this was added to our rig and we try to animate this on a character, again, you might find that selecting this would be a little bit difficult, but we can always add another piece of geometry and tie that to this piece, and we'll learn how to do just that. So in the event that you cannot come in and grab this bend control, you most certainly still have a way to access it very conveniently. So we'll learn how to do that as well. So this is going to be a really exciting topic. But now that we've taken a look at this Flexi Line, let's go ahead and start to learn how to build this so that we can save time when it is time to import this in and tie it to our skeleton.